Hello everyone. Welcome to the explanation of The Merchant of Venice, Act 1, Scene 1. In this scene, we mainly focus on the plight of Antonio, why his sad mood is reflection of the impending danger which is going to be imminent in this drama. Bassanio inquisition of Antonio's falling in love and Antonio's denial that he was not worried because of his merchandise at sea. There's another side of Bassanio reflected in Act 1, Scene 1, where his spendthrift nature has been reflected, how he spends more money than he earns. And then later on, how does Bassanio revealing his heart to Antonio and confiding him that Portia is a beautiful and intelligent lady whom he wants to marry, and therefore he seeks monetary help. And at conclusion, we find out that how Antonio tells him to go and borrow money in the name of his credit. Let's go for line by line explanation of Act 1, Scene 1. Please pay careful attention to it. The Merchant of Venice, Act 1, Scene 1. Enter Antonio, Salarino, and Bassanio. Antonio: in sooth, I know not why I am so sad. It worries me. You say it wearies you, but how I caught it, found it, or came by it, what stuff it is made of, whereof it is born, I am to learn. And such a want which sadness makes of me, that I have much ado to know myself. Antonio in the opening scene itself suggests that his sad mood is a sign of the impending danger which is going to be imminent in the drama, and that he does not know the specific reason of his sadness is another point that the readers find mysterious too. Here there are some difficult words, or may I say Elizabethan words, which you need to know, which are like sooth means truly, wearies means grow tired of or get fed up with something. Came by it means got it, acquired it. Stuff means material. Whereof it is born means of what origin. Want wit means stupid fellow. Okay? Then Salarino says, your mind is tossing on the ocean. There, where your argosies with portly sail, like signors and rich burghers on the flood, or as it were, the pageants of the sea, do overpeer the petty traffickers, that curtsy to them, do them reverence as they fly by them with their woven wings. Salarino says that, believe me, sir, if I had such venture forth, the better part of my concerns would be with my hopes abroad. I would be thinking of the tower over the little trade boats that they pass by, sailing along, and it is as if the little boats bow before the greatness of your gigantic ship. Here, meaning of some words like argosy, which means large merchant ships. Portly means majestic. Now Bassanio says, believe me, sir, had I such venture forth, the better part of my affections would be with my hopes abroad. I should be still plucking the grass to know where sits the wind. appearing in maps for ports, empires, and roads, and every object that might makes me fear misfortune to my ventures out of doubt would make me sad. Salenio again tries to convince Antonio by saying that if he were involved in a trade venture like Antonio, most of his mental energy would be with his ship, that he would be pulling up shoots of grass to use them to check the direction of the wind, looking at maps of ports and piers and road, and even the little thing that might make him worry that something bad would happen to his ships would make him sad. Wind, my wind cooling my broth, would blow me to an ague when I thought, what harm a wind too great at sea might do? I should not see the sandy hourglass run, but I should think of shallows and of flats, and see my wealthy Andrew docked in sand, wailing her high top lower than her ribs, to kiss her burial. Should I go to church, and see the holy edifice of stone, and not bethink me straight of dangerous rocks, which, touching but my gentle vessel's side, would scatter all her spices on the stream, and robe the roaring water with my silks, and in a word, but even now worth this, and now worth nothing, shall I have the thought to think on this? And shall I lack the thought that such a thing bechanced would make me sad? But tell not me, I know Antonio sad to think upon his merchandise. Now, Salarino is pretty much sure about Antonio's perturbation about his ships, and he says that if he were in the position of Antonio, his breath cooling his soup would make him shiver, as if he had fever, thinking of a violent wind might do destruction of his ships. He does not even want to see the running sandy hourglass, because it reminds him of sandbanks. He would imagine that his rich ship stuck in sand, the top of her mast slanting down lower than her sides, would kiss her burial ground. If he were at church, its stones would remind him of dangerous rocks concealed under water, which, by merely brushing against the side of his ship, would scatter all the cargo of his spices and silks on the roaring water. So, he is incapable of thinking all this, and he's sure that Antonio is sad because he is thinking of the risk to his merchandise. Now look at some difficult meanings. First one is broth, which means soup. Broth means soup. Ague means fever with shivering. Sandy hourglass is a timing device with two connected glass bulbs containing sand that takes an hour to pass from the upper to the lower bulb. It's also called a sand timer, sand watch, sand clock, etc. Flats, sandbanks. Wealthy means rich. Okay, now Antonio, believe me, no, I thank my fortune for it. My ventures are not in one bottom trusted, nor to one place, nor is my whole state upon the fortune of this present year. Therefore, my merchandise makes me not sad. Antonio wants them to believe that they are wrong. He says that his merchandise is not in one ship or at one place, so he doesn't have any risk on all his property or on all his investments. Therefore, it's not his merchandise that is making him sad. But there is another literary facet to it, Because whatever Antonio says lies under the category of dramatic irony. At one instance, he says that his fortune is not dependent on this present year. However, we find out as readers that once he suffers loss, he goes in debt. Therefore, it is dramatic irony. The character is oblivious, does not know about the predicament he is going to fall in, but the readers know the situation of the characters. It is called dramatic irony. Find it out and study. Salarino. Why then you are in love? Antonio says, Five means shame. Here it means, oh please, Salarino, not in love neither? Then let us say you're sad because you're not merry. And it were as easy for you to laugh and leap and say you are merry because you're not sad. Now by two-headed Janus, nature had framed strange fellows in her time, some that will evermore peep through their eyes and laugh like parrots at a bagpiper, and other of such vinegar aspect that they will not show their teeth in way of smile, though Nestor swear the jest be laughable. Now look at the meanings of the words. Here, neither stands for either. It was common in Elizabethan language that Shakespeare used to use two negatives that gives an impact of a positive meaning. Again here, Janus is a two-headed Roman god with two faces looking in opposite directions. Framed, created, made, evermore, means always, peep through their eyes, peer through half closed eyes, laugh like parrots at a bagpiper, means laughs as foolishly at the dreary sounds made by a bagpiper as a parrot laughs at anything and everything. Vinegar aspect means sour look expression. Sour expression is vinegar aspect. Okay, I hope the meanings are easily accessible to you. Now, Salarino says that it is strange that it is neither anxiety nor love that makes Antonio sad. So then why is he sad? Because he is sad because he is not happy, he is not merry. And if he were not sad, it would be equally easy for him to laugh and jump with joy and say that he is merry because he has no reason to be sad. Now Salarino swears by the two-headed god called Janus that nature had made strange types of men. Some are so happy that they always peep through half-shut eyes like laughter. You see the parrots? And they laugh like parrots even to hear a bagpiper play. Means they are so happy that they even smile at the playing a song of a bagpiper. There are others who have such a sour nature that they will not smile at a jest even if the grave Nestor said that it was laughable. Even if God tells them to be happy, they would think otherwise. Nestor here stands for the old and solemn Greek hero in Iliad who was famous for his wisdom. He had such gravity that a joke had to be really funny to make him laugh. Understood? Okay. Now enter Bassanio, Lorenzo and Gratiano. Here comes Bassanio, your most noble kinsman, Gratiano and Lorenzo, fare ye well. We leave you now with better company. Salanio says, I would have stayed till I had made you merry if worthier friends had not prevented me. Antonio replies, your worth is very dear in my regard. I take it your own business calls on you. and you embraced the occasion to depart. Antonio replies that when Salanio and Salarino were on the verge of departure, Antonio says that I hold you in high regard. I think you have some business of your own, and that is why you want to take this opportunity to leave. Now Salarino to Bassanio, Lorenzo, Gratiano. Good morrow, my good lords. Bassanio to Salario and Salanio. Good signors, both. When shall we laugh? Say when. You grow exceeding strange. Must it be so? Bassanio says that both of you are good men. When are we going to have fun times together? Tell me when. You're practically strangers now. Bassanio somewhere speculates that Salanio and Salarino tries to make a way to depart whenever he arrives. Even we have some kind of imagination regarding the relationship of Bassanio with that of Antonio. Somewhere we find out that the other characters tend to leave the place where Bassanio and Antonio meets. Such is their relationship. They are close friends, they are bosom friends. Salarino, will make our leases to attend on yours. Exeunt Salario and Salarino. Lorenzo, my lord Bassanio, since you have found Antonio, we too will leave you. But at dinner time, I pray you have in mind where we must meet. Lorenzo requests his lord Bassanio that they must come. They must meet for dinner. Bassanio says, I will not fail you. Means don't worry. Gratiano, you look not well, Signor Antonio. You have too much respect upon the world. They lose it that do by with much care. Believe me, you are marvelously. Gratiano meets Antonio with courtesy and decency, and even says that Antonio does not look well, as he cares too much about worldly things. He also says that those who care too much about things end up losing them. He also tells Antonio to believe him that he really don't look himself, as Antonio has very much changed. Antonio, I hold the world, but as the world, Gratiano, a stage where every man must play a part, and mine a sad one. Antonio says that he takes the world just as it is. It is but a stage where every man must play a part, and his part is a sad or serious one. Gratiano, let me play the fool with mirth and laughter, let old wrinkles come. And let my river rather heat with wine than my heart cool with mortifying groans. Why should a man whose blood is warm within sit like his grandsire cut in alabaster, sleep when he wakes, and creep into the jaundice by being peevish? I tell thee what, Antonio, I love thee, and it's my love that speaks. There are a sort of men whose visages do cream and mantle like a standing pond, and do a wilful stillness entertain with purpose to be dressed in an opinion of wisdom, gravity, profound conceit, as who would say, I am Sir Oracle, and when I ope my lips, let no dog bark. O my Antonio, I do know of these that, therefore, only are reputed wise for saying nothing, when I am very sure, if they should speak, would almost damn those ears, which, hearing them, would call their brothers fool. I'll tell thee more of this another time, but fish not with this melancholy bait, for this fool gudgeon, this opinion. Come, good Lorenzo, fare ye well a while, I'll end my exhortation after dinner. This is a very important speech uttered by Gratiano to Antonio, that is generalized in nature, because Gratiano says that let my part be that of a fool or a clown in a comedy. He says, let me make merry and laugh till he is wrinkled with age. He would rather heat his body with wine than cool his heart with groans that cause death. He says, why should a young man
who is warm-blooded, sit pale and still, looking like the statue of his grandfather, made out of marble? Why should he look sleepy when he is awake? Why should he gradually develop jaundice by being ill-tempered? He says, I love you, Antonio, and speak to you out of my affection. He says, there are many men who allow a grave look to form on their faces, just as creams forms on the top of milk or scum on a pond, and who maintain a deliberate silence in order to get the reputation for wisdom, for gravity, and for intelligence. They pretend to be Greek oracles, and they would not have anyone interrupt them when they speak. They are so boasting. I know for certain that these people are reputed wise only because they say nothing. If they were to speak, I am sure their stupid utterances would provoke the hearers to call them fools, who would thereby damned, as the Bible says. I'll tell you more about this later. But meanwhile, Gratiano urges Antonio not to try to fish for silly reputation for wisdom with the bait of melancholy. He says goodbye to Lorenzo, and he also says that he will complete his discourse after dinner. Now, let us look at the meaning of the difficult words here, because it is very important. Fool is clown. Mirth means merriment, happiness. Old wrinkles means wrinkles of old age. This line is very important, has been asked in the ICSE Council examination once. Let my liver rather heat with wine. There was an Elizabethan belief that a liver heated with wine would produce rich blood and thus a good, lively personality. Right? On the contrary, heart cools with mortifying groans, which means that groans and sighs were thought in Elizabethan times to drain blood from the heart. So it was contrary to what? Liver functions. Grandsire means grandfather. Alabaster means a soft stone, often branded as marble. Creep into jaundice. These are all the meanings you should know. The Elizabethan believed that ill-temper person caused jaundice. So they gradually acquired jaundice, who is creepy. Sort, S-O-R-T, sort, here, sort, find out in the text, which means kind. Visages means faces. I request you to have your book in front of you so that you could mark the difficult meanings in your book. Cream means form of frothy layer on the surface of the milk. Mantle means to become covered with coating as scum on the surface of a liquid. Kai, in Hindi, kai. Okay, I hope the difficult words have been taken into consideration. Yeah, there are some more words. Sir Oracle. Sir Oracle was a priest or a priestess in ancient Greece who gave people wise or wisdom but often mysterious advice from God. It was believed that God spoke through their mouths, and also someone who knows a lot about a subject and can give good advice. Let no dog bark, here. Let no dog bark is again means let no one dare to interrupt him. Right? Reputed means renowned, respected. Fish not, he says, fish not means don't go searching. Melancholy means a sad, thoughtful state of mind. pensiveness. Bait means anything used to tempt is bait. And exhortation means advice. Here, advice. I hope you are writing the difficult meanings in your notebook so that it helps you to understand the text well. Just at this point, Lorenzo chips in and he says, "Well, we will leave you then till dinner time. I must be one of these same dumb wise men, for Gratiano never lets me speak." Lorenzo jokingly talks about one of those dumb wise men which Gratiano was mentioning just before it. And Gratiano also replies in humor, saying that, "Well, keep me company but 2 years more, thou shalt not know the sound of thine own tongue." Thine own tongue means your own voice. Gratiano says that if you keep me for 2 more years, you will forget what your own voice sounds like. Antonio says, "Farewell, I'll grow a talker for this gear." Gear means for this occasion. Gratiano, "Thanks, I faith, for silence is only commendable in a neat's tongue dried and a maid not vendible." Thanks, because in fact the only tongues that should keep quiet are beef tongues on the dinner plate and those of uncooperative maids. I think this has been taken out from the ICSE syllabus as per my knowledge. So you need infinite deal of here means a lot of. Nothing here means here. Nothing means here. Nonsense. Reasons. His reasons means thoughts. Logic. Hid means hidden. Bushels means container. Chaff means husk. Seek means look for. ERE, ear, check out, means before. Check out all those words in your book and find out the meaning which I am speaking here. Now Antonio says, "Well, tell me now, what lady is the same to whom you swore a secret pilgrimage that you today promised to tell me of?" Secret pilgrimage means clandestine love affair. And Antonio is curious to know about it. Bassanio says, "It is not unknown to you, Antonio, how much I have disabled mine state by something showing a more swelling port than my faint means would grant continuance. Nor do I know make moan to be abridged from such a noble rate. But my chief care is to come fairly off from the great debts wherein my time something too prodigal had left me gauged. To you, Antonio, I owe the most in money and in love, and from your love I have a warranty to unburden all my plots and purposes, how to get clear of all the debts I owe." Here we find out that Bassanio makes a candid confession regarding his love for Portia. He is too much involved in the affair and he wants it to continue. He says that he has squandered all his means by living a more stylish and lavish life than by his small income would allow. But he doesn't complain to curtail this lordly way of living now. But his principal worry now is how to pay honorably the great debts that he was involved in because of his spendthrift ways. Spendthrift or prodigal means a person who spends more money than required. I owe a lot to you. Here to you means Antonio. He owes a lot to Antonio in love and in money, and it is his friendship that gives him the confidence to unravel all the plans and schemes that he has to clear off of all these debts. Check out the difficult words here. He says, disabled mind state. Disabled here means wasted. Mind state means wealth. State means wealth. Something here means to some extent. Swelling port means showing style of life, showy style of life. Faint means limited resources. Okay. Make moan means complain. He doesn't complain. Okay. And abridged means curtailed, shortened. Spendthrift means a person, or prodigal means person who spends a lot of money. Moving on. Antonio, I pray you, good Bassanio, let me know it, and if it stand as you yourself still do within the eye of honor, be assured my purse, my person, my extremist means lie are all unlocked to your occasion. This is very important, with the perception that this particular line had been highlighted in the question paper of 2019, and Antonio replies by saying that all his money, purse, himself and all his resources lie to the feet of Bassanio and for his help. Bassanio says, this is very important, in my school days when I had lost one shaft means arrow, I shot his fellow of the same flight, the self same with more advised watch, to find the other fourth, and by adventuring both I found both. I urge this childhood proof, because what follows is pure innocence. I owe you much, and like a wilful youth, that which I owe is lost. But if you please to shoot another arrow that self way which you did shoot the first, I do not doubt, as I will watch the aim, or to find both, or bring your letter hazard back again, and thankfully rest debtor for the first time. Here we find out that Bassanio recalls his school days and recalls an incident even when he was shooting arrows once and he lost one. He shot another arrow to the same exact way and paid better attention to it, so that he could follow its course, path, and led him to find the first arrow. With his example of his childhood, which is completely innocent, he says that he owes a lot to Antonio, and like a rash young man, he has lost all the money. But if he shoots another arrow the same way, by lending him the money again, he will watch the second one more carefully, and now with this he can remain out of his debt by having a second chance. Antonio understood the context, and he says, you know me well, and herein spend time to wind about my love with circumstance, and out of doubt you do me now more wrong in making question of my uttermost, than if you had made waste of all I have. Then do but say to me what I should do, that in your knowledge may be done, and I am pressed on to it, therefore speak. Antonio knows him. Antonio says that you're wasting your time complicating my affection for you. I have a lot of love for you. You do me wrong in doubting my love, and that I can give you money as much as you want. Simply tell me what you would like me to do, and I will do it. Just tell me. Bassanio says in Belmont. This is very important again, because the description of Portia comes into play. Is a lady richly left, and she is fair, fairer than the word, of wondrous virtues. Sometimes her eyes I did receive fair speechless messages. Her name is Portia, nothing undervalued, to Cato's daughter. Brutus is Portia, nor is the wide world ignorant of her worth. For the four winds blow in from every coast renowned suitors, and her sunny locks hang on her temples like a golden fleece, which makes her seat of Belmont, Colchos, Strand, and many Jasons come in quest of her. O my Antonio, had I but the means to hold a rival place with one of them, I have a mind presages me such thrift that I should questionless be fortunate. This speech by Bassanio is of utmost importance, because it gives the description of Portia. Bassanio describes Portia, that in Belmont is the name of the place, that she is a lady richly left. Richly left means having a lot of property. She is fair, point number 2. Fairer than the word, point number 3. Of wondrous virtues, point number 4. From her eyes he did receive fair speechless messages. Point number 5. Her name is Portia. Point number 6. Cato's daughter. Point number 7. Brutus's Portia. Point number 8. So Cato's daughter means she was the daughter of Cato. The name is synonymous, and she is equivalent in her visual appearance like that of Brutus's wife Portia. Nor is the wide world ignorant of her worth. I mean, everyone in the world knows about the value of Portia. For the four winds blow in from the very coast renowned suitors, from the respected suitors coming from every place, and her sunny locks means golden hair, hang on her temple like golden fleece. Golden fleece here means crop of wool from the back of a ram, golden fleece, okay, and which makes her seat of Belmont Colchos Strand. Belmont again is a fictitious place somewhere located on the mainland in Venice, and it is on the modern day Georgia, where Georgia is located, Colchos Strand. And many Jasons are suitors who came in quest of her. Quest means search of her. And he says to Antonio, "Oh my Antonio, had I but the means to hold a rival place with one of them." Rival means to compete with them. "I have a mind presages me." Presages me means foretells me. "Such thrift that I should questionless be fortunate." Means he had every sign that he would succeed in his quest of Portia. Antonio replies thus: "Now that all my fortunes are at sea, neither have I money nor commodity to raise a present sum. Therefore, go forth, try what my credit can in Venice do, that shall be raked even to the uttermost, to furnish thee to Belmont, to fair Portia. Go presently inquire, and so will I, where money is, and I no question make to have it of my trust or for my sake." Antonio says that, "You know all that my money is invested in my business ventures. I have no cash with me, nor do I have any goods on which I can raise any money immediately. Let us go and see what my credit can raise in Venice. I am ready to stretch my credit to the utmost to get money for you to go to Belmont. Let us at once find out where money can be had, and I am sure of getting it either on my credit or because of the regard people have for me." At this juncture, exeunt happens and the conclusion of scene 1, act 1 takes place. Thank you very much.